The cage door slams shut and the world watches as Khabib Nurmagomedov, the undefeated eagle, locks in a rear naked choke, forcing Conor McGregor to tap out in front of 20,000 screaming fans at UFC 229. October 6, 2018, a night that changed MMA forever. But it wasn't just the fight that burned itself into history. It was the chaos that followed. Khabib leaping over the cage, McGregor's team ambushed, a brawl that spilled into the crowd. 2 men, 1 ring, and a rivalry so raw, it still echoes 7 years later. Now, in 2025, Khabib Nurmagomedov stands at a podium in New York, his voice calm but heavy, delivering a message to his old foe: redemption is possible, but only if Conor McGregor can change. The story of Khabib and McGregor isn't just about a fight. It's about 2 men from opposite worlds, their paths colliding in a sport that thrives on conflict. Khabib, the stoic grappler from Dagestan, raised in the mountains, shaped by discipline and faith. McGregor, the brash striker from Dublin, a showman whose words cut as deep as his left hand. Their clash at UFC 229 wasn't just a title fight, it was personal, fueled by months of venomous trash talk, a bus attack that made global headlines, and a cultural divide that felt unbridgeable. Khabib, now 36, retired undefeated in 2020, his legacy cemented with a perfect 29-0 record. McGregor, at 37, hasn't fought since a gruesome leg injury against Dustin Poirier in 2021, his career and reputation battered by legal troubles and personal scandals. Yet, in a quiet moment at a Muslim religious gathering at Tills Center in New York, streamed live by influencer Sneeko on Party, Khabib spoke not of hatred, but of hope. "I don't want to mention his name," he said, his words deliberate. "This is punishment. Everything that happened. Woman this, alcohol this, drugs, everything. This is punishment." McGregor's fall from grace has been stark. Once the UFC's golden boy, the first fighter to hold titles in 2 divisions simultaneously, he was a cultural phenomenon. His knockout of Jose Aldo in 13 seconds at UFC 194 was a masterclass in precision. His war with Eddie Alvarez at UFC 205 made him a legend, the king of New York. But the years since have been unkind. In 2018, the same year he faced Khabib, McGregor was found liable in a civil suit for sexual assault in Dublin, a verdict he failed to appeal. In 2019, he pleaded guilty to assault after punching an elderly man in a Dublin pub. In 2023, another civil suit for an alleged sexual assault in Miami loomed over him. And in July 2025, rapper Aziana Banks exposed alleged nude photos of McGregor on social media, adding another layer of controversy to his already troubled image. Khabib sees this not as victory, but as a warning. If he's not going to change, it will be punishment all his life, he told the crowd in New York. Their rivalry began long before the Octagon. In April 2018, McGregor, enraged by a confrontation between Khabib and Artem Lobov, stormed the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. He hurled a metal dolly through the window of a bus carrying Khabib and other fighters, shattering glass and injuring 2 athletes. The incident wasn't just a stunt, it was a declaration of war. McGregor was arrested, charged with assault and criminal mischief, and later pleaded non-contest to disorderly conduct, sentenced to community service and anger management. The UFC, sensing a goldmine, used the footage to promote UFC 229, a move that drew criticism from commentators like Joe Rogan, who called it pathetic and disgusting. But the hype worked. The fight drew 2.4 million pay-per-view buys, the most in UFC history. And when the bell rang, Khabib was ready. If you're watching this and you love the raw, unfiltered stories of the fight game, hit that subscribe button for MMA Arena. We're here to bring you the moments that define this sport, the battles that live beyond the cage. Inside the Octagon at UFC 229, Khabib was a force of nature. He didn't just fight McGregor, he dominated him. For 4 rounds, he smothered the Irishman with relentless grappling, landing 70 significant strikes to McGregor's 51. McGregor, known for his surgical striking, was outclassed on the ground, his energy sapped by Khabib's suffocating pressure. In the 4th round, Khabib locked in a neck crank, forcing McGregor to tap out. But the fight didn't end there. Khabib, fueled by months of personal insults, McGregor mocking his family, his faith, his country, hurled his mouthpiece at McGregor's corner and leapt over the cage to confront Dillon Danis, McGregor's training partner. Chaos erupted. McGregor tried to climb out only to be attacked by 2 of Khabib's teammates inside the Octagon. The Nevada State Athletic Commission withheld Khabib's $2 million purse, fined him $500,000, and suspended him for 9 months. McGregor faced a 6-month suspension and a $50,000 fine. It was the ugliest moment in UFC history, but it was also its most watched. Khabib's words in New York weren't about gloating, they were about redemption. Allah always gives us a chance to come back, he said, his voice steady but firm. It doesn't matter how bad you are. I think he has a chance, and he has to change the way he's living. This wasn't the Khabib of 2019 who told ESPN, "It will never be finished. Even if we see each other somewhere, we're going to fight 100%. This was a man who'd walked away from the sport at its peak, retiring after submitting Justin Gaethje at UFC 254 in 2020, honoring a promise to his mother after his father's death. Khabib, now a coach mentoring fighters like Islam Makhachev and Umar Nurmagomedov, sees the bigger picture. He knows Conor McGregor's influence extends beyond the cage, with millions of fans hanging on every move. If he's going to change, he can change with him so many other lives too, he said. It was a call to responsibility, not just for McGregor, but for the man he could become. McGregor's response, predictably, was fire. In January 2025, he took to X, unleashing a tirade against Khabib, using racial slurs and insults aimed at his family and culture. The post, quickly deleted, was a reminder of the McGregor of old, brash, unfiltered, and defiant. Days later, on July 22, 2025, he fired back again, this time responding to Khabib's comments about rising star Ilia Topuria. Khabib had dismissed comparisons between Topuria and McGregor, saying, "Could Ilia Topuria be the next Conor? No, he's a good guy." McGregor's reply was venomous. Fighting's biggest bitch yapping out of his fat hole again. Cough, cough. That post, too, was deleted, but the damage was done. The rivalry, dormant for years, was alive again, fueled by the same raw emotion that made UFC 229 a spectacle. But Khabib's message wasn't about rekindling the feud. It was about something deeper, something that McGregor's former teammate Artem Lobov hinted at on the Ariel Helwani show. Lobov, who trained with McGregor for years, revealed that McGregor barely prepared for Khabib at UFC 229, training just twice a week. He believed a fully prepared McGregor, the one who dismantled Eddie Alvarez, could have beaten Khabib. Lobov even suggested McGregor could lure Khabib back for a rematch, though Khabib has remained steadfast in his retirement. Khabib, for his part, doesn't want a rematch. He's moved on, coaching a new generation, building a legacy that doesn't need another fight to shine. McGregor's future, though, remains uncertain. He's teased a return to the UFC in 2026, possibly at a historic event on the White House lawn to mark 250 years of American independence. He's called out Michael Chandler, the opponent he was set to face at UFC 303 before a toe injury forced him out. But the questions linger. Can McGregor, at 37, recapture the magic of his prime? Can he overcome the legal battles, the controversies, the weight of his own